Hello and welcome to Mystical Musings with me, your host, Tracey-Anne. Today we're talking about the throat chakra. I'm going to cover what it feels like when it's overbalanced, what it feels like when it's out of balance, and also things we can do to keep it in balance. Now, this chakra is known as Vishuddha. Vishuddha. It's the hardest one for me to say, apparently. Maybe my throat chakra is blocked. And this is situated at the base of the throat. And this energy center is all about communication. It's about expression and also the ability to speak your truth and be honest. Let's look at what it's like when the throat chakra is underactive. So the underactive throat chakra, you might experience symptoms of difficulty expressing your thoughts and emotions. I've certainly experienced this in my life. Fear of speaking up or being misunderstood. Not so much. Social anxiety and introversion, a sore throat or thyroid issues, lack of clarity in communication. So that means you might think you're speaking clearly, but actually maybe you're not. So if you find that you're sort of being misunderstood, putting some energy to this throat chakra is a great thing to do. What about when it's overactive? So you might be excessively talking without substance. Hopefully that's not something I'm doing today. You might have a tendency to be overly critical or judgmental, and you might find it difficult to listen to others, which is a skill that I think lots of us need to refine. You might find that you have a sore throat, or maybe you have communication issues quite frequently, and you may have an inability to keep secrets, which, you know, we don't want to keep secrets, but, you know, we should keep confidences for sure. What does it feel like when it's imbalanced? So you might feel very clear and authentic in your communication. You might be able to comfortably express yourself. You might be able to actively listen and actively understand what someone is saying to you. Your thyroid might be quite healthy, and your respiratory function as well, because it's the sort of the top of the lungs where the breathing, although breathing is more heart, it can manifest in the throat chakra. And your creative and articulate expression is very clear. So what can we do to balance the throat chakra? Well, the throat chakra is a very blue, sapphire-y or turquoisey energy. So you might want to do a short meditation, for example, on that color. Now, some of us have aphantasia, which is where you can't see images. You shut your eyes and it's just black. And so what I say to people is, it's okay to have a concept of a color in your mind. You know, you might not be able to hold the image, but you might have a concept of what blue is or turquoise is in your mind. And so to help balance it or to keep it balanced, you may want to imagine a blue light coming into the throat chakra and just energizing that energy center for you. Another thing you can do with visualization and meditation is visualize a clear stream of energy. You can do this to all of your chakras, but with the throat chakra as well, kind of allowing some of the energy to come back out to express yourself clearly. Some of the affirmations that you might want to assign to this chakra is repeat affirmations with that are to do with communication and self-expression. So, for example, I speak my truth with clarity and confidence. Something that some of you might not be particularly comfortable with, but I strongly recommend it, is singing. This throat chakra is just beautiful for opening up and keeping it balanced with singing. So, you know, if you don't particularly feel comfortable singing, I would work on that if you can. If it's something like, my husband is just never going to sing. He just hates it, hates the feeling of it. I think he's probably quite blocked in the throat chakra. But yeah, singing actually just helps to clear that. Obviously, if you have a sore throat, if you're unwell, absolutely do not sing, and don't whisper. Whispering is quite bad for the throat overall, because it's suppressing the energy, but it puts a lot of strain physically on your throat. Just going back to affirmations, you can quite literally say, I speak my truth with clarity and confidence. And having that in your vocabulary, you know, I am all for keeping balancing energy centers as simple as possible, because you cannot balance your energy centers with just one approach. You know, it does take a 10-pronged approach. And so it's okay for you to, have something that's just really, really simple. So I speak my truth with clarity and confidence is just really nice. Let's just keep it simple, guys. Crystals that you can use for this chakra are blue lace agate, that enhances communication and self-expression. Aquamarine promotes clear communication and soothes the throat. And solidite supports honest and authentic expression. Crystals, I'm not an expert at this moment in time in crystals, but I do use them in my energy healing practice. They have their purpose. And so if you are feeling, actually, one of my energy centers is a bit off balance, or my throat just feels a bit out of alignment, it might be worth visiting a crystal shop and actually go in and kind of have a feel and speak to the person behind the desk, because they will know exactly what you need for what you're wanting to do, and that's valuable. So, you know, or you can just order online, but I just feel like going in and picking the crystals in that way, if you can, are very, very good. So foods that can help support this chakra, obviously blue fruits, so blueberries, blackberries and plums. Herbal teas like peppermint, chamomile and licorice root. Absolutely love peppermint and licorice together. They're just incredible. If you've not tried it, what are you doing? And then we've got aromatherapy oils like lavender, eucalyptus and chamomile. They can be very soothing to the energy of the throat chakra. So things that you might need to consider when you are keeping this throat chakra balanced is being very mindful of how you communicate. Now, we've all been around people, and sometimes I think we probably have, I certainly have been somebody that can just flippantly say things without really thinking about the true impact of how that will land. And I have been known inadvertently to sometimes hurt people a little bit, and that's not so much anymore, hopefully, but sometimes, you know, in the past, I've definitely, and I probably will in the future, said things that actually just create a little bit of a sting because I've not thought about how they land. And sometimes I can just be a little bit blunt with things. And, you know, I never want to be somebody out there who's hurting people. So having a mindful communication, also, it's in our best interests to think about how we communicate, because when we communicate really well, we are more likely to get what we want. Now, that's really tricky because I appreciate that sounds possibly a little bit like maybe it's a bit manipulative, but I don't want you to look at it like that. I want you to, if you are coming from a really pure place and you are genuinely trying to do better or be good in the world, listening to how you communicate and coming across really well could actually be the difference between a good or a negative outcome. And so it's really in our best interests, as much as the other person's who receiving our words, to just try and be as clear and as gentle as possible, but also very compassionate. You know, shouting, certainly there's no judgment here because I've definitely shouted at my kids, probably will at some point today. But I definitely get a different response to my kids if I go, get in the car, to, oh, we're going a bit slowly. Do we think we could speed this up a little bit, guys, so that we can get where we need to go? Now, look, I'm using kids as an example. You relate this to you, but obviously that isn't always going to work. And it's not always easy to be that calm in the moment when things are difficult. But if we can have in the back of our minds that is a tool in our box, that when the kids are being difficult, if you have them, or a loved one is being difficult, or a work colleague is being difficult, that you work out what the frustration is and try to bring passionate communication, it can actually sometimes dislodge that stuck energy, not just from you, but from the other person as well. So it is really, really important. Something I've not done that I have sort of looked up, and I don't know if I will ever go into this, but it's something that comes up, is throat opening yoga poses and exercises. I know a lot of you do yoga. It's a long story with me, but we won't go into that now. But I'm not the biggest fan of doing yoga. I'm a big fan of its practice, and I think I will develop my connection with yoga, shall we say. But yeah, so if you're already doing yoga and you're feeling a bit blocked in this way, a really good thing that you can do to keep you balanced, or, you know, to keep it, if you feel balanced and you feel like, gosh, things are going really well, things are working out for me, communication's down, you want to keep it balanced, maybe you can bring some throat opening yoga exercises to your yoga practice. Journaling comes up a lot across the board with any kind of spiritual practice, and I will always say to people, we get a little bit poncy about journaling. We get a bit perfectionistic about journaling. Journaling can literally be like, sometimes if we get like a salesy letter through the post in the envelope, the back of the envelope is usually blank, and sometimes I might just scribble notes on it. Like my thoughts, my feelings about something, to clear the energy. Spiritual practices I do encourage making time to sit and meditate, to do the things that, make life easier. But sometimes when the kids are kicking off and you've got dinner to cook, or you've got family coming around, or you've got a lot on at work, actually, it's that in the moment stuff that we can do that really helps to shift our energy. And I'm often, when I'm talking, about this kind of stuff, I'm often reminded of the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, who's it by? Stephen Covey. And one of the habits is sharpening the saw. Now, sharpening the saw is all well and good. Sometimes you are going to be working with a blunt saw. I think that is life. I think that's definitely the female condition in sort of the patriarchal roles. I think generally speaking, women are more likely to blunt themselves out than men, but not always, obviously. I want to remain kind of inclusive here. But actually taking some time in the moment, and I'm just talking like really simple stuff, like when even if it's a pizza that you're putting in the oven for the kids or your family, or, you're going to eat it yourself, you put it in the oven and you express a feeling of gratitude, even though there's frustration there. And I think what we would call this is probably a mindfulness practice, in that moment to moment, showering in the morning, you can go through your to-do list, but maybe just take a moment to go, gosh, this is wonderful that I have water cascading over me, and because we're all made to feel grateful for water. When, for example, the boiler breaks and there's no hot water running, then we're kind of forced into that gratitude feeling. So if we can bring that in daily, it does make everything just that bit more shiny, I suppose. So journaling is a really good thing to do, but let's not get perfectionistic about it. Let's do it as and when we can. You don't need the perfect pen. It doesn't need to be all neat. In fact, I almost positively encourage just absolutely making a car crash of the first few pages. Why not? let's stop trying to make everything Instagram worthy, you know? It's okay for things to be a bit of a mess sometimes, you know? So just take the pressure off a little bit. Keeping things balanced, you can wear things like blue or turquoise. You will often see me in blue or turquoise. It's simply because I love blue and turquoise. I love those colours. But my throat chakra does go out of alignment sometimes, so I have to really work on that. And hydration, drink plenty of water. Now, this will help all energy centres throughout the body, but obviously the throat and the mouth need hydration. It needs water to function really, really well. And so just working individually with each chakra, you are going to find that it will have an impact on the other chakras as well. But your throat chakra is very, very important for communicating new ideas, you know, preparation. If you've got a presentation to go into, preparation in what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, just getting a little clearer on what it feels like to be able to just kind of stand and speak and communicate what it is that you want. Okay, so that is your throat chakra for this day's episode. Now, if you want to hear more from me, which of course you do, share with your friends. Go and listen to other episodes that I've recorded. And if you would like the opportunity to work with me, obviously reach out, because I absolutely love helping people on their spiritual journey and through this little thing called life. Thanks for listening.